breathe. Don't chase. Calm. Be the calm. Every reaction feeds the game you're trying to escape. You've been playing it for months, maybe years. The explanations, the justifications, the long texts, the need to be understood, validated, chosen. And somewhere in all that effort, you lost something you can't name: her respect, your peace, the version of yourself that didn't need permission to exist. Marcus Aurelius mastered battles no one could see, emotional ones. He understood that real power isn't won in arguments or performances. It's won in the quiet moments when you choose stillness over reaction, presence over proving. That's what you're about to learn: how silence becomes strength, how composure creates respect, how detachment, real detachment, makes you magnetic again. Here's the truth that stings. You lost her respect the moment you tried to earn it. Now you take it back, not by chasing, by becoming. Let's begin. 1. Stop explaining yourself. The power of Stoic detachment. You've been here before. She says something that doesn't sound like what it means. A question with a hidden edge about where you were, why you didn't reply, why your tone felt different. And before you even think, you start explaining. You build a case. You defend your intent as if you're standing trial for being misunderstood. You write, delete, write again. Paragraph after paragraph, careful and measured. You want her to see your heart, your reasoning, your truth. You send it and wait. Then comes silence. Or worse, a single word that makes everything you said disappear. What happened isn't about words, it's about energy. You didn't lose because of what you said. You lost because you needed to say it. When a man feels he must justify himself, he quietly admits doubt. Not doubt in the facts, but doubt in his own center. A man who knows his ground doesn't argue for it. He doesn't bend his truth to fit someone's suspicion. Explaining yourself doesn't build respect, it empties it. Every justification is a small confession that you need to be believed more than you need to be at peace. And women sense that. Not always consciously, but through energy. The moment you start explaining, you step backward. This isn't about coldness. It's not about withholding emotion or playing silent games. It's about remembering where true power lives. Stoic detachment means you no longer defend your worth, you embody it. Power doesn't argue, it doesn't explain. A lion doesn't defend its roar. A mountain doesn't ask permission to stand tall. A man who knows his worth doesn't need to convince anyone of it. The ancient wisdom of Stoic philosophy has always taught this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Silence is the reply of the wise." Wisdom doesn't hide behind words. It chooses stillness because truth doesn't chase belief, it simply exists. Think of the last man you met who carried quiet confidence. He didn't fill the room with talk. He didn't rush to justify his choices. His silence had weight. His presence made words unnecessary. You trusted what he said, not because of how much he spoke, but because of how little he needed to. That's the energy you're learning to embody: calm, certain, untouchable. It's one of the timeless Stoic lessons. Real strength is silent. The more grounded you are, the less you need to explain. When the urge to explain rises, pause, breathe. Then ask yourself, am I clarifying or defending? If it's defending, stop. Let the silence do what words can't. Daily practice. 1. Notice 5 moments where you could have explained but chose stillness instead. 2. Write them down if you must, not to track success, but to feel your own restraint. 3. Watch what happens to your energy. Notice how silence, once uncomfortable, starts to feel like strength. Because silence doesn't weaken you, it centers you. A calm man doesn't prove, he radiates. And when you stop proving, you stop bleeding energy into the hands of those who test it. That's when everything shifts, when your presence speaks louder than any defense ever could. That's stoicism in motion, calm, grounded, and quietly powerful. 2. Your attention is her leverage, the currency of Stoic detachment. You're at your desk. A deadline is closing in. The work in front of you is what truly matters. Yet the moment your phone lights up, your focus slips. You don't think, you react. You reach for it. Maybe it's her. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the chance that it could be. Either way, you check. You read. You analyze. You wait. Minutes pass. You're still there, but your mind isn't. It's somewhere else, orbiting her. She's not even thinking about you. But your energy? Still serving her. That's the quiet trap. Most men never see it because it feels harmless. They think attention is free, that checking a phone, replaying a message, or wondering what a silence means is nothing. But it's not nothing. It's a transaction. Every glance, every thought, every emotional reaction, it all spends from your internal account. And most men go broke without realizing it. Where your attention goes, your power follows. The ancient wisdom of modern Stoicism understood this long before psychology did. The Stoics taught that a scattered mind is the mind of a servant. When your focus bends to someone's approval, to their distance, or to the hope of being chosen, you stop living from your center. You become a satellite, circling their gravity instead of standing in your own. And little by little, that orbit drains you, not with pain, but with quiet exhaustion. Until one day, you wake up and realize months have passed in a one-sided pull. This is where Stoic detachment begins, not by pretending not to care, but by reclaiming control over where your mind lives. Detachment isn't emotional frost, it's focused warmth, it's discipline, it's choosing attention consciously, not emotionally. Most men mistake detachment for indifference, pretending they don't care while their thoughts still spiral around her, ignoring messages while waiting for one to arrive. That isn't detachment, that's performance. And people can feel it. Real detachment has depth. It's presence without obsession. You don't turn away to play games. You turn inward to protect what's sacred, your energy, your focus, your peace. That's one of the key Stoic lessons. Focus is freedom. When you master attention, you master emotion. Here's the practice. 1. Choose one sacred hour each day. 2. No phone, no notifications, no checking for signs or messages. 3. Spend that hour on something that demands your full presence, work, training, reading, creating. 4. Guard that time as if it were gold, because it is. That single hour reminds you who you are without external noise. It reconnects you to the quiet satisfaction of being whole, not waiting to be seen. This is how a Stoic mindset is built, not through theory, but through repetition, through small acts of self-control that restore your power 1 minute at a time. When you begin living like this, the pull starts to fade. Her tests lose their grip. Her silence no longer defines your worth. You're no longer waiting for proof that you matter because you've remembered. And in that stillness, you become unreachable, not detached, but steady, not cold, but calm. A man whose attention can't be bought, borrowed, or stolen. When your attention returns to you, everything that once drained you loses its power. That's the quiet victory of Stoic detachment, the art of owning your focus, and with it, your freedom. 3. The calm test, the power of Stoic detachment under pressure. It begins quietly, a sharp comment, a tone that cuts just enough to make you feel it. Maybe she questions your decision. Maybe she mocks the way you handled something. Maybe she just wants to see if your calm is real, pressing on your composure the way someone presses a bruise to see if it still hurts. You feel the tension rise, the chest tightens, the mind fires back. The old version of you would have met her energy, defended, argued, tried to prove your strength through words. But what she's testing isn't your logic, it's your center. She isn't asking if you can stay patient. She's asking something deeper. Can you hold her energy without losing yourself? You sit across from her. Her eyes are searching for a reaction. She calls your calm an act, says your silence is weakness pretending to be wisdom. You take a breath, then another, then one more, and you stay, not frozen, not withdrawn, just steady. You don't push back, you don't shrink, You remain grounded, like something that no longer needs to prove it's strong. That's the essence of Stoic detachment, the art of standing firm in emotional storms without losing your internal balance. It's not indifference, it's mastery. You don't suppress, you don't explode, you simply hold. In that stillness, something shifts. Not because you said the perfect words, but because you didn't need to. Your presence answered the question better than any defense ever could. The wisdom of Stoicism captures this perfectly. The one who controls his breath controls the moment. It's not about power over others, it's power over self. When you hold your ground, when you stay rooted as emotion rises, you stop being a participant in chaos. You become the calm that everything else reacts to. Composure is not weakness, it's command. A man who gets loud when challenged is still being moved by anger. A man who withdraws is still being moved by fear. But a man who can sit in discomfort, feel the heat without being consumed, is living from a different place. His emotions still move, but they no longer own him. This is one of the timeless Stoic lessons. Emotional control is not about ignoring your feelings. It's about owning your response. You feel the fire, but you don't feed it. You let breath bring you back to truth. You are safe, whole, and already enough. You don't need to fight to prove it. This practice is what fuels Stoic motivation, not motivational quotes or mantras, but the quiet discipline of choosing peace over impulse. Here's the practice. 1. When conflict rises, pause. 2. Breathe 3 times, deep, slow, intentional. 3. Don't speak until the body feels settled, not numb, not stiff, just steady. You'll notice most of what you wanted to say loses its urgency. It wasn't truth, it was reaction. What remains will come from clarity, and it will carry more weight. Because when words are born from calm, they no longer defend, they define. That's how you pass the test, not by acting calm, but by being calm. Especially when it costs you effort. Especially when she's pushing every button to see if your peace is real. She'll feel it, not in what you say, but in what you no longer give away. The stillness, the restraint, the quiet authority. That's what she's looking for. Not control, not perfection, presence. And calm alone isn't enough. It must be anchored in self-respect. Because true calm isn't the absence of emotion, it's the mastery of it. That's the living embodiment of Stoic detachment. Emotion felt deeply, yet governed completely. 4. The boundary code, the silent power of Stoic detachment. You're in the break room. Someone's talking, not to you, but about someone else. The words are coded in concern, but the tone cuts. A few people lean closer. There's a small pause, an opening for you to join, to add your opinion, to belong. You don't. You finish your coffee. You nod once, and you leave. No judgment, no speech, just quiet clarity. That's what a boundary looks like. It's not loud, it's not defensive, it's clean. Most men think respect is earned in confrontation, in the argument won, the line defended, the point proven. But that's not where respect takes root. Respect doesn't grow from force. It grows from restraint, from calm withdrawal. It's the same in love. She's pushing. The conversation keeps looping, testing your patience, searching for reaction. You've said what mattered, but she keeps circling, trying to pull you into the spin. The old version of you would have stayed, tried to fix it, tried to win. Now, you end it. Not to punish, not to dominate, but because you're aligned. You simply say, I'm not doing this right now. And you step away. Not from her, but from the chaos. Because you know what you stand for. And you refuse to trade your peace to prove it. That's Stoic detachment in its purest form, calm self-command without resistance or performance. You don't withdraw to punish, you withdraw to protect your center. Self-respect begins in silence. It's built not by what you fight, but by what you no longer allow. Every time you stay in a space that disrespects you, you teach people it's acceptable. Every time you tolerate gossip, manipulation, or subtle disrespect to keep the peace, you give away small fragments of yourself. It doesn't break you all at once. It erodes you slowly, until you realize you've been living on ground that no longer feels like yours. The mistake most men make is believing boundaries require confrontation, that they must explain, justify, or argue for them. So they avoid them altogether, calling it patience. But patience without standards isn't strength. It's fear dressed up as tolerance. Here's one of the most practical Stoic lessons. You don't need to prove your boundaries. You simply live them. A firm no carries more weight than a long explanation. Here's the practice. 1. Each day, one clear no, calm, direct, without explanation. 2. When someone asks you to do something that doesn't align, say, "No, I can't." 3. When someone invites you into gossip or conflict, say, "I'm not interested in that." 4. Leave it there. Let silence do the work. You'll notice something. Most people won't resist. They'll adapt. Because boundaries don't push people away, they earn their respect. When you stop negotiating your worth, others stop testing it. Not because you demanded it, but because your energy no longer leaves room for doubt. There's a quiet shift that happens when you live this way. You stop explaining. You stop defending. You move through life grounded, a man defined not by how loudly he speaks, but by what he refuses to entertain. People feel it, not in your words, but in your presence. At work, they notice you're not in every discussion, not caught in every storm. You show up where it matters and disappear when it doesn't. And somehow, your words carry more weight, not because you speak more, but because you speak less. In love, she notices it too. You don't chase every argument. You don't need to win. You just need alignment. And when that's missing, you step back, not in anger, but in quiet respect. That's the essence of a true Stoic mindset. Calm, consistent boundaries that require no announcement. And when that happens, something deeper settles. Respect, not demanded, not debated, just felt, steady, grounded, like gravity. That's the quiet reward of modern Stoicism, living from inner order, where peace becomes your magnetism and silence becomes your statement. 5. The magnetic calm, the power of Stoic detachment in modern mastery. The gym at 6 in the morning is silent, just the rhythm of breath, the sound of weights, the movement of focus. You're there, not recording, not showing, not performing for anyone. You train, you finish, you leave. No story, no caption, no announcement of progress. Later that day, someone asks what you did this morning. Trained, you say, nothing more. No need for detail, no need for recognition. The effort shows on its own in how you stand, how you breathe, how you move. It's in your presence before you ever speak. People feel it. That quiet strength, that steadiness, that lack of need. You don't seek attention, and somehow that makes you magnetic. The world runs after loud men, but women, they're drawn to grounded ones. Everywhere you look, people are performing, declaring their plans, announcing their growth, broadcasting their every move. But most of it is noise, temporary confidence that fades as soon as it's questioned. You're choosing the opposite. You're building in silence, moving with intent, operating from a state that doesn't need validation to exist. And that quiet focus, that absence of performance, is the new dominance. This is Stoic detachment in action, building quietly, anchored deeply, detached from the noise of validation. You no longer crave to be seen, you choose to be real. The ancient Stoics lived this truth. They knew mastery doesn't announce itself. It doesn't demand recognition. You feel it when someone walks in their calm, in the way they listen, in the way they don't need to prove what they already know. Real power doesn't shout, it emanates. That's what you're developing. Not a mask, not an act, but a deep, steady presence that comes from doing the work when no one's watching. It's what true Stoic mindset looks like. Effort without ego, strength without noise, Here's the practice. A daily ritual rooted in Stoic lessons of discipline and self-command. 1. Dedicate 30 minutes a day to what I call the builder's state. The gym, a book, a skill, anything that sharpens you. 2. Keep it private. No posting, no updates, no look at me. 3. Do it purely for yourself, because the reward is who you become, not who notices. For 3 days, commit to growth without display. At first, you'll feel the pull to share, to prove you're serious. Don't. Sit with that urge. Learn to be content in your own validation. That discomfort of invisibility is where self-mastery begins. This is the essence of Stoic motivation. Progress without audience, confidence without applause. When you stop performing, you start transforming. People sense it, not because you told them, but because your energy changes. You stop chasing attention. You stop feeding on approval. You become whole again, centered, self-contained. And she feels it too. Not in your words, but in your stillness. You're not explaining, not seeking reassurance, not showing off progress. You simply exist, focused, calm, building something invisible but undeniable. That's Stoic meditation in motion, not sitting on a cushion, but living with presence. Every action becomes a form of awareness. Every silence becomes a lesson in restraint. That's the shift. Calm isn't weakness. It's strength under control. It's the fighter between rounds who doesn't need to flex. It's the man who knows his value isn't up for negotiation, so he no longer enters the debate. When your calm becomes rare, it becomes magnetic. You stop reacting. You stop proving. You stop chasing. You start leading, silently, effortlessly, through presence alone. 6. The mirror principle, the final stage of Stoic detachment. She goes silent. No text, no call. Just stillness, deliberate, pointed, meant to make you question yourself. The old version of you would have unraveled, checking your phone every few minutes, replaying the last conversation to find the mistake. Maybe even sending that small, nervous message, a quiet plea hidden behind casual words. Are we okay? Did I do something wrong? Please don't disappear. But now, you stay grounded. You feel the discomfort because you're human, and silence always stings. Yet you don't chase it. You don't fill the space with anxious movement. You breathe. You let the silence sit where it belongs, outside of you. And something shifts. The silence she sent to provoke a reaction begins to return to her. What was meant to pull you in now mirrors back emptiness. She doesn't get the validation, the emotional proof, the reassurance she was reaching for. Instead, she gets something else, your calm presence, still intact, still living. That's the mirror. She wasn't testing you to hurt you. She was searching for power. But instead, she met her own reflection. Her silence showed her what she was really seeking: control, attention, reassurance, and you didn't provide it. This is the truth. You win not by controlling her, but by mastering yourself. Every test, every withdrawal, every pull toward emotional chaos isn't about her. It's about your own restlessness, your craving for certainty, your fear that if you stay silent, you'll lose something that matters. But calm doesn't make you lose women. It makes you lose chaos. When you refuse to play the game dissolves. Not because you outplayed her, but because you outgrew the need to compete. Her silence no longer defines your worth. Her tests no longer dictate your peace. You stop mistaking her emotions for your reality. That's Stoic detachment, not withdrawal, but emotional mastery. Not apathy, but awareness. The foundation of Stoic philosophy teaches that peace doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from controlling your perception of them. And this isn't numbness. It's not pretending not to care. Detachment isn't about avoiding emotion. It's about choosing your response. You feel it all, the ache, the confusion, the pull to fix it. But you don't let those feelings take the wheel. You sit with them. You breathe through them. You allow them to exist without turning them into action, because you've remembered something vital. You are safe. You are whole. You don't need to chase peace when it already lives inside you. This is the deep practice of modern Stoicism, transforming discomfort into clarity and silence into strength. Here's the practice. 1. When someone, a coworker, anyone, tries to pull you into drama, do nothing. 2. Don't defend, don't react, don't explain. 3. Take that energy and redirect it into creation, train, write, build, move, make. 4. Let their chaos become the fuel for your focus. You'll notice the pattern. When you stop feeding the noise, it dies. Drama needs 2 participants. Without your reaction, there's no power left to sustain it, and something deeper unfolds. People start respecting you differently, not because you played it cool, but because you genuinely stopped needing their response. You no longer allow other people's behavior to dictate your emotional state. You've become self-contained. She feels that shift too. The quiet strength, the absence of need, the steady presence that isn't trying to win, isn't trying to prove, isn't trying to fix. It's not about punishing her, it's about protecting your peace. And that's when everything changes, because you stopped engaging in battles that only existed to steal your energy. This is Stoic motivation at its core. Power through composure, influence through silence. You don't lose women by being calm. You lose the version of yourself that was desperate, the one that couldn't rest without reassurance, the one that mistook reaction for connection. You lose the sleepless nights, the overthinking, the emotional exhaustion. What you gain is yourself, grounded, centered, whole. That's when calm stops being a tactic and becomes identity. You stop chasing control because you are control. You no longer reach for power, you embody it. This is Stoicism in motion, not philosophy on paper, but a living discipline that transforms silence into sovereignty. This is who you are now, a man who doesn't need to explain himself, who values his attention like gold, who stands still when the world tries to shake him, who holds his boundaries in silence and builds his life in private. A man who no longer plays games he never needed to win. Your mantra, calm is my power. Write it, say it, let it settle into your body. For the next 3 days, note every moment you stayed silent under pressure, every pause that replaced a reaction, every time you walked away instead of arguing. Watch how your calm doesn't just protect you, it changes the air around you. That's the work. That's the path. Welcome to the frequency of Stoic detachment, where control ends and true freedom begins.